what would you say are some of the worst financial mistakes that Americans are making today that is keeping them broke? And I think I know the first one you're going to say.
Oh, man.
But
well, truthfully, number one right now in my mind as we take calls is car loans.
car loans.
Car loans are killing Americans. And it's the number one video I did on YouTube. And I think it's approaching like 1 million views now.
Wow.
And it was called America's Number One Wealth Killer. And it was all about the car loan. And I broke down, how depreciation works and how this actually works when you're paying interest on something going down in value. So that when you buy a $40,000 car, after interest and the length of the loan is over, you paid $50 for that. So an extra $10,000 in interest. Well, the car is now worth $16 or $20,000. And I'm like, so more and more people, almost every person that calls the Ramsey Show lately, calls in and they say, hey, my car is worth $20, I owe $35. I'm underwater on my car. Oh. Here's a crazy one. This couple called in and said, hey, we decided to try to do Turo as a side hustle, where we rent out cars for everyday people to rent through the app. Well, they leveraged 3 vehicles on loans that are now all 3 underwater.
Ooh.
So the car is worth $20, they owe $35. The car is worth $30, they owe $45.
Oh my God.
And they're underwater on all 3, and they're like, how do we get out of this? And I'm like, well, you need the difference in cash or you need the difference in a loan in order to even sell that car. And so these are really scary situations, and most people are driving their retirement accounts with the amount of car they're buying. And just like college tuition, guess what happens? Car prices go up, people still buy them because of loans. If we had to only buy cars with cash, car prices would plummet because no one would be buying $50,000 cars that they couldn't afford.
But people need a car to get to and from work.
Do they need a $50,000 car to get to and from work? Most people would say, well, it's safety and reliability. I can't be, driving a 2007 vehicle. It would crash. That once it hits 100,000 miles, you throw them away and you get new ones.
Yeah.
That's how most people think. And so you know this because you drive an older vehicle. I drive an older vehicle.
Yeah.
And we're both millionaires. And we still are like, this is not a wise way to spend your money. And so I find most people are broke because of their cars. They're hanging on to student loans for 10, 20 years, hoping for government forgiveness. They have credit card balances because life got it crazy, inflation, everything's expensive. So how do they keep up their life? Swiping the card. So now they're carrying a credit card balance, and now they're turning to personal loans. We've seen a record number of HELOCs. As people have their home value appreciate with this housing market, they're like, sweet, we have an extra $100,000 on our home. Let's use that as a line of credit and go fund the renovation and the vacation and the kids' college. And so we're seeing all of these mistakes compound and stack on each other, and it's heartbreaking.
So I guess if it's the opposite now, somebody, let's say they've paid down the credit card debt, they don't have an auto loan. When is it and how is it okay for somebody to splurge? Because I'm of the opinion that if you have the money and you want to buy something, go ahead and do it. What are your thoughts on splurging?
Well, in the Ramsey plan, when you look at baby steps 1 through 7, well, baby steps 1 through 3, we are getting out of debt and getting a fully funded emergency in place.
Sure.
That you got to be intense and sacrifice hard for a short period of time. Most people do all of those in 2.5 years.
Wow.
They pay off their debt in 18 to 24 months.
Amazing.
The fully funded emergency fund in about 6 to 12 months.
So important to build that financial foundation.
So 2.5 to 3 years, you don't have payments and you got a big pile of money in the bank. That's when we say move from intense to intentional. Now it's the time to upgrade the car and you can go on vacation, and we're doing this all with cash. And so the time to, quote, splurge, it's hard. I almost want to reframe what splurge means because it feels like you're doing something you shouldn't be.
It does.
Versus what we do is we put it in the budget. So a $10,000 vacation might feel like a splurge, but when it's in the budget, it just becomes a thing we get to do. And so I like reframing the idea of splurging because splurging feels like spending money we don't have.
That's true.
But I still understand because there's things I splurge on, like a $300 concert recently. That was a big splurge for me.
Yeah.
Because it's money that normally I wouldn't spend, but my wife is like, this is your favorite band of all time. Just go to the concert. You'll have a great time. And now it's worth it to me. So, but I had to loosen up a little bit, honestly, because when you follow the Ramsey plan and you build those muscles of not spending, it's hard to then let loose and go, oh, we've earned it. Yeah. So people will call on the show and they're like, we're at baby step 7. We don't have a mortgage payment. We have $1 million in our retirement fund. Can we go on a $5,000 vacation paid for in cash? We're like, yes. Can I buy the $30,000 car? We make $250,000. We have no debt. Yes, buy the car. We tell people not to do that. when they're buying a $40,000 car and they make $50,000 and they're drowning in payments.
Yeah.
That's usually how it works. So I think splurging should happen once you have no consumer debt, a fully funded emergency fund, you're investing for the future, and then you have this extra money you can enjoy.
So when you can afford it, it is okay to go out and buy the nice things.
Exactly. People think, well, Dave's against nice stuff, rice and beans, yada, yada. We're like, Dave's got some real nice stuff. But there was a period of time where he was sacrificing, and he drove like no one else with the beater car, so later, now he gets to drive whatever the flip he wants to work. His choice of vehicles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. We're not anti-stuff, we're just against stuff having you.
And what about now college? Because you have a communications degree and you had to go into student loans. And clearly that was very beneficial for you, the communications degree, because you're a very good communicator now. If somebody now is in high school and they're watching this, they're thinking about going to college, or a parent is watching this, thinking about sending the kids to high school, are student loans okay? And when are they okay?
Well, I have this crazy belief that there's no such thing as good debt, which I understand is very controversial in the financial world. And that includes student loans. And I saw this firsthand when we were creating our Borrowed Future podcast series that I hosted. And I'm interviewing all of these people who have student loans, and they're telling me about their experience and how they stumbled into this and all the traps they fell for and what it's held them back from doing. And the stats now show people aren't getting married, they're delaying having kids, they can't buy a home, they can't work the jobs they want, they can't live where they want, all because of this burden of student loans that they were unaware would crush their life in adulthood. So I just haven't seen it. You know, I'm sure there's stories where I got the degree, I paid off the loans, and I have a great job. Those people exist. And studies do show that having that further education will give you a higher salary over the course of your life. You will accumulate more income. But I don't think it's worth getting the student loans, and I think there's so many more options than people realize, than just stumbling into the one school they applied to, or the alma mater their parents went to, or the going for the football team, or the famous name brand school. I'm like, is it the only way? Is it the best way? That's what my friend Ken Coleman says when it comes to education. And if it's the only way, and it's the best way, that you have to go, to become a lawyer, you got to go to law school.
Right.
You're not going to watch a YouTube video and do it. But for most people, they're getting degrees, they're just hoping to have a marketable job on the other side, instead of thinking through it logically like a business investment. So I just find that most people can go, well, we can go to the community college and cash flow that for 2 years, knock out our prereqs, transfer to the 4-year school, finish there at a reasonable rate. Maybe we stay in state, and maybe we live at home and make some sacrifices or get a part-time job or apply for grants and scholarships. All of that can help you cash flow school. And it's not impossible because people call in, they tell us their story, they're on the debt-free stage, and parents are telling us how they diligently saved and how their kids worked their tails off to get those scholarships. And so it's very much possible. But just like the car, you know, if you think you'll always have a car payment, you're just going to go get a car payment.
Yeah.
But when you take debt off the table when it comes to college education, and you have that conversation with your kid early on and say, hey, son, we are not going into debt for school. We're going to create a plan together to help you go debt-free and get that degree that's going to help serve you. Parents aren't having that discussion. It's just, well, we'll take on the Parent Plus loan. And now we have calls. This happened twice this week.
Oh, my God.
The parent calls in, says, hey, we're trying to retire, but we can't because we owe $100,000 on my daughter's loan, but it's a Parent Plus loan, so it's in our name. She's not paying anymore and refuses to pay and says this was our...
The daughter's not paying anymore?
Daughter's not paying.
And
she
refuses
says,
to pay her own
and says
loan.
it's the parent's responsibility. They took out the loan in their name to send me to school. It shouldn't be my... And I'm like, this is a nightmare. And it's happening all over America. And so it adds so much pain to the relationship. It adds strain financially. And so parents, don't do these Parent Plus loans to try to get your kid a better life. It's not going to give them a better life. What's
the best thing a parent can do to set their kids up for success? Is it set up a trust fund for them, give them money, set up a investment account for them? What can a parent do today to set their kids up for future success?
Well, depending on the age of the kid and what the goal is, let's say it's college. As soon as my daughter was born, we set up a 529 plan. It's state specific. You can choose any state. And so we set that up and started funding it. And that's a great way to help my daughter go to school debt free. If you're able to, it's a wonderful thing. There's no obligation morally or financially for any parent to cover 100% of school. And it's good to have some skin in the game for your kid. But don't just not plan when you have the ability to save and go, well, I want them to work for it and they'll figure it out. that's a bad plan. That's probably going to end up with them in student loan debt. So number one, for college, I love a 529 plan or an education savings account. That's a great way. Tax advantage. The money's going to grow, tax deferred. You can withdraw it tax-free for education expenses. And now you can even roll over a portion of that money to a Roth IRA. And so it's not like they're always worried, well, what if my kid doesn't go to school?
Right.
Well, what if they do and you don't have the money? You know what I mean? I'm always like, I'd rather have the money and, change the beneficiary, worst case, to another family member. So for college, that's a great plan. But everything else, it's teaching your kid that money comes from work at an early age. Don't give them allowance. Give them a commission for work they're doing.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Dave and Rachel write about this in their book, Smart Money, Smart Kids. But Dave learned early on that when you give kids allowance, it creates the sense of entitlement, of because I exist, money shows up.
So it's allowance is like every week you get $100 or something.
But commission is when I do X, Y, Z, I will get paid this much. And this isn't like you're a member of the house, you help mom with the dishes.
Sure.
But if there's something extra you do, hey, clean out the attic and I'll give you $20. And so there's easy things you can do that are age appropriate. I'm not talking about child labor here.
Yeah.
But as your kid gets older, they can understand this. And what I love to teach kids is there's only 3 things you can do with money. Give, save, and spend. A 5-year-old can understand that concept. And it's a beautiful thing. We have our savers bank that you can get for kids, and it's a great way to just teach them. When you get money, we're going to if you get $10, we're going to put $1 into the give side. We're going to put $5 into the save side for the future, and then you get to spend the other $4, and we're going to go get a toy. So these are concepts you can teach kids early on to where you're kind of teaching the kid to fish.
If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide on how to start generating passive income for free. All you got to do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.